study, let me talk one more study related to vocabulary teaching. This study was conducted in a required general English course at National Sun Yat-sen University, where 26 students learned English through reading their textbook. Interactions. Reading Silver Edition by Pamela, Hartmann, and Elaine Kirn, published in 2007. The students' performance of vocabulary quizzes in the first 2 months and the later 2 months was measured and compared. In the first 2 weeks, the trainer applied traditional direct teaching to convey the meaning of the words in reading content without any treatment. Through directly narrate the context in a reading textbook, the lecturer provided the meaning to the words that were new to the 26 freshmen from different colleges at National Sun Yat-sen University. For the second session as well as the third and fourth weeks in this study, the trainer applied student-centered interactive approaches and make students have opportunities to talk to each other when learning new words. In this study, 26 adult students were divided into groups of 4 or 5 and were requested to apply new vocabulary in discussions of writing transcript in role plays. 2 rows of scores through the 2 different types of traditional and modernized treatment were compared by t-test. After testing by statistical package for social science as well as SPSS, the significant differences were revealed and show the different effectiveness through 2 types of vocabulary teaching methods. At the end of the study, the accuracy level of the students' application for new words was observed and measured. Through the following criteria, 26 students' scores were statistically measured, analyzed, and conducted. As a result, so the criteria and the analysis table for applying vocabulary in role play contains the elements of the semantic and the pragmatic, phonetic, and grammar abilities. And semantically, the score is graded for 40%. Grammatics is 30%. Phonetics is 20% and grammar for 10%. About the significance of this study, this study is very important since the history in the field of teaching vocabulary is not very long. The result of this study will raise the English teacher's awareness of how different students can learn through 2 types of different pedagogies. This significant difference will remind teachers when teaching vocabulary. The reciting or direct method cannot be applied anymore, since students can only access high frequently appearing words. As to the new words, students cannot comprehend immediately in class without hard preparation. The result of this study can contribute to the curriculum designer and the policy makers at universities. About the research setting of this study, the 26 students were non-English major at National Sun Yat-sen University in Kaohsiung, located in southern part of Taiwan. These adult language learners around 19 to 23 years old are freshmen from different colleges, including majors in Chinese literature, music, computer science, biology, drama performance, and etc. Most students have passed competitive joint entrance examinations after graduation in senior high school, so they can study in the top-level university in Taiwan. In fact, National Sun Yat-sen University is generally regarded as one of the best universities in Kaohsiung, and its reputation is often within the top 10 choices of university in Taiwan. For this class, in the whole general course curriculum, they were defined as higher intermediate level as well as the second level compared with the whole population of the freshmen in a placement test when they enter the school. The students' first language was mostly Taiwanese, Hakka, Mandarin, and Aboriginal tribe languages. Very few students' mother tongue were dialects of mainland China, such as a dialect of Shanghai. Sample description. The students were requested to take English courses and they have to achieve their proficiency to a certain required level in order to pass the graduation criteria. For example, they need to pass either the General English Proficiency Test as well as GEPT, Intermediate High Level, or the level of highest required English course. English 3-2 level course. From the observation of the researchers, most students would rather take all the required English general course than try to participate in the real GEPT test, because it is too stressful. The reason might be that they have gone through the competitive and intricate joint college entrance examination, so they would not throw themselves into anxious testing environment again. The data collection of this study. The students were given 2 quizzes at the end of first and second sessions of training. In the first 2 weeks, students were trained through the direct methods, which teachers have given lecture for the reading content and translated the meaning for the student without guiding students to interact with each other. Students' score of memorizing words in the first part as well as from the chapter 1 to chapter 10 were measured through a simple quiz at the end of the training. Students were requested to answer the meanings of the 15 words on the blackboard in chapter 10. The data collection in the second session of training was more complicated. At the end of the study from the chapter 1 to chapter 10, students were asked to do the role play based on the content of the text in class. The students' performance was videotaped and their word application were evaluated through the above criteria. For each student, 2 or 3 words were collected, transcribed into paper and analyzed. The final score of their quiz depends on the accuracy level of their understanding for meanings and the accuracy of their pronunciation orally. The researchers of this study suggest that when the student can pronounce the word well, they would be able to spell the words correctly. Regarding to the research question of this study, first of all, how well students can learn vocabulary through traditional direct method and updated interactive approaches. Number 2, how much students can improve their vocabulary proficiency after being taught by interactive approaches. About the data analysis, 2 rows of student grades after 2 types of language pedagogies were analyzed through statistic package for social science as well as the SPSS, which contribute to answers of the following issue. To what level is the difference between the traditional and modernized pedagogies? In order to identify the differences between the traditional and modernized pedagogies, t-test was applied to compare and contrast students' academic performance in vocabulary learning. Through the graph analyzed and drawn by SPSS, the significant difference level can be revealed. If the number is closer to 0, it denotes that the significant difference level is high. Assumption. This study assumed that there might be obvious differences between two teaching methods, since the university should be motivated and study better through an interesting learning way, in role play. About the limitation, this study might be limited because the student might be able to become skilled in the first part better, no matter what the treatment will apply them later. About the result of the study, the t-test graph shows the students significantly improve. The standard deviation for the first time is the 13 points, and for the second time is the 11 points. Indicate the deviation of the group members. And the significant level is high since the two-tailed data shows a number close to 0. From the two box plots, we are able to see the obvious progress learning by the treatment. About the recommendation for further study, the computer-assisted language learning is suggested.